Some disappearances leave behind clues, footprints in the mud, a torn map, a phone left buzzing in the dirt. But others vanish into silence. No ransom note, no struggle, no trace, just absence, like someone paused reality and quietly erased a human being. In this story, we're not talking about the ones we've solved. We're diving into the ones that refuse to be solved, the cases that mock logic, where every explanation crumbles under the weight of the impossible. What really happened to the people who simply stopped existing one day? Were they victims of a perfect crime? A government cover-up? Or something even stranger? Something our world isn't ready to explain? These are the vanishings that haunt investigators, mystify scientists, and keep conspiracy forums alive years, sometimes decades, later. Because in each of them lies the same chilling question. Chapter 1: The Vanishing Point. Every civilization, from the dawn of recorded time, has whispered the same fear, the fear of being erased. Long before crime shows and satellite maps, there were myths. People who stepped into the forest and never came out, travelers who walked over the hill and simply ceased. To ancient minds, disappearance wasn't about death. It was about crossing into the unknown, into places that weren't meant for us. Some said spirits took them. Others believed they slipped between worlds. Even now, with all our science and satellites, we still can't explain them all. Think about it, we can track a phone halfway across the planet, yet people still vanish in broad daylight. Entire ships, planes, villages have disappeared, leaving behind no chaos, no clue, no reason. It's as if reality has soft spots, thin spaces where the rules we live by quietly unravel. And maybe that's why these stories grip us so tightly, because deep down we all wonder, if the world can swallow them, could it swallow us too? So, where does this line between the known and the unknowable begin? That's what we're about to explore, the invisible point where someone crosses over and never comes back. Chapter 2: When Reality Forgets You. What does it feel like to imagine disappearing, not dying, but simply being erased? No headlines, no witnesses, no trace you were ever here. For centuries, poets, philosophers, and scientists have obsessed over that thought. Because disappearance isn't just a physical mystery, it's a psychological earthquake. It's the deepest form of invisibility. When the world forgets you existed, humans crave connection. We need proof we matter. Names on mailboxes, messages left unread, fingerprints on a glass. And yet, when someone vanishes, all those small proofs dissolve overnight. A person once so vivid becomes a ghost in digital records, a face on a missing poster fluttering in the rain. But what truly haunts us isn't the loss itself. It's the uncertainty. Our minds aren't built for it. We crave closure, a story that ends neatly. A body, a reason, a final chapter. When none of those appear, imagination rushes in to fill the silence, with theories, conspiracies, and sometimes madness. That's why disappearances captivate us. They expose a crack in our need for order, a reminder that the universe doesn't owe us explanations. And in that gap between what we know and what we fear, that's where obsession begins. Chapter 3: The Perfect Crime. When detectives describe a perfect crime, they don't mean flawless genius. They mean no evidence left to find. No fingerprints, no motive, no trail. Just absence, pure and clean. Throughout history, certain disappearances have seemed almost too perfect, as if whoever or whatever was responsible understood human investigation better than humans themselves. Take the 1800s. A farmer vanishes while walking home across open fields. His hat is found in the dirt. Nothing else. No struggle, no footprints beyond his own. It's as if the air itself swallowed him whole. Centuries later, police still face the same eerie blank pages. GPS, cameras, phone pings, all useless, as though someone erased the moment from existence. The perfect crime has evolved. It no longer needs cleverness. It only needs silence. But here's the question that keeps investigators awake. Are these disappearances the work of human hands? Or are we witnessing something that mocks the very idea of a crime scene? Because in some cases, it's not just one person missing. This whole group's entire crew's gone. No ransom, no suspect, just perfect, terrifying stillness. The deeper we look, the more one thing becomes clear. The perfect crime might not be human at all. Chapter 4. Amelia Earhart's Final Flight. July 2, 1937. The world's most famous aviator lifts off from Papua New Guinea. A calm morning sky, a confident voice over the radio, and the second-to-last leg of a daring flight around the globe. Amelia Earhart wasn't just flying an airplane. She was flying into history, and then silence. Somewhere over the vast Pacific, her voice faded into static. "We are on the line 157-337. Those were her final words. After that, nothing. No distress signal. No debris. No goodbye. For days, ships and aircraft scoured the ocean, combing thousands of miles of empty blue. They found nothing. Not a wing, not a shoe, not a trace of the Lockheed Electra or its 2 passengers. It was as if the sky had closed its hand around them and refused to let go. Decades later, theories piled up like waves. Crashed at sea, captured by the Japanese, stranded on a remote island, or perhaps never what we thought she was at all. Each theory feels almost plausible, yet none quite fit. Amelia Earhart became more than a pilot who vanished. She became the symbol of how thin the line between history and mystery really is. Chapter 5. The Lost Colony of Roanoke. It was supposed to be England's first permanent foothold in the New World, a brave little colony on Roanoke Island, off the coast of what's now North Carolina. In 1587, more than 100 settlers arrived, full of hope, carrying the promise of a new beginning. But when a supply ship returned 3 years later, the settlement was empty. No bodies, no smoke, no struggle, just silence, and a single word carved into a wooden post: Croton. That single word has fueled more speculation than perhaps any other clue in colonial history. Was it a message? A destination? A warning? Some believe the colonists integrated peacefully with local tribes. Others think they fled inland and perished. Still others whisper darker theories: mass abduction, supernatural forces, even time displacement. What makes the Roanoke mystery so haunting is its completeness. Every trace of life was scrubbed away. Even today, archaeologists sift through the sand, uncovering tiny fragments. A ring, a tool, a pottery shard, but never the truth. For over 4 centuries, Roanoke has remained America's oldest unsolved disappearance. And maybe that's why it endures, because the emptiness itself became part of our identity. A ghost story at the foundation of a nation. Chapter 6. The Mary Celeste. In December 1872, a ship called the Mary Celeste was discovered drifting in the Atlantic Ocean. At first glance, everything seemed normal. Sails intact, cargo untouched, and the ship still seaworthy. But there was one glaring, terrifying detail: the crew was gone. No sign of a struggle. No bodies. No lifeboat. Just empty cabins, half-finished meals, and a ship that should have carried dozens of people safely across the ocean. Over the years, countless theories emerged. Piracy? Mutiny? Alcohol fumes from the cargo? Some even whispered about sea monsters or spontaneous disappearances. But each theory seemed to fall apart under scrutiny. There was no blood, no evidence, nothing to explain the clean, eerie absence of every living soul aboard. What's haunting about the Mary Celeste is the normalcy of its abandonment. It wasn't torn apart by storm or violence. It was simply left, as if the crew had vanished into thin air. Even today, the ship's story sparks fascination, debate, and unease, because every empty cabin, every undisturbed item, whispers the same chilling question: why would an entire crew abandon a perfectly good ship, or vanish without leaving the smallest trace behind? It's a mystery that reminds us that sometimes, the ocean doesn't just take lives, it erases them. Chapter 7. The Dyatlov Pass Incident. January 1959. 9 experienced hikers set out across the Ural Mountains in the Soviet Union, prepared for winter's bite. Their goal was simple: trek, camp, return. But they would never make it back alive. Weeks later, search teams discovered their campsite, a scene that would haunt generations. The tent had been ripped open from the inside. Footprints led into the snow, and then stopped. What followed next was even more bizarre. The bodies were scattered. Some were found with severe internal injuries, almost as if a car had struck them, yet there was no external trauma. Others were partially dressed in sub-zero temperatures, showing signs of hypothermia. A few had missing eyes or tongues. Radiation traces? Unexplained. Investigators struggled to make sense of the evidence. Avalanche? Possible, but no signs of sliding snow. Military testing? Maybe, but classified reports remained vague. Or was it something far stranger? A force, a presence, a phenomenon that defies rational explanation? Even now, more than 60 years later, the Dyatlov Pass incident remains unsolved. The mountains keep their secrets, and the hikers' fates continue to puzzle experts and enthusiasts alike. It's a stark reminder. Sometimes, the wilderness isn't just dangerous, it's unknowable. Chapter 8: The Bennington Triangle. In the 1940s and 50s, southwestern Vermont became the stage for a series of baffling disappearances that earned the area a chilling nickname: the Bennington Triangle. Within this stretch of wilderness, at least 5 people vanished under mysterious circumstances. Some were hikers, some locals, others just passing through. But the pattern was the same. No trace of struggle, no clues to their whereabouts, nothing except the quiet of the forest swallowing them whole. What makes the Bennington Triangle particularly eerie isn't just the vanishings themselves. It's the timing, the location, the repetition. People disappeared on clear days, near roads, often within miles of other communities. Search teams combed the area repeatedly, yet came up empty-handed. In some cases, footprints were found leading into thick woods, and then stopping abruptly, as if the forest itself had swallowed the person. Over time, explanations ranged from bear attacks to accidents, from foul play to abductions. But none fully accounted for the bizarre consistency and the sheer number of people who simply vanished. The Bennington Triangle remains a chilling reminder that even in well-mapped, familiar territory, humans can disappear in ways that defy logic. And for those who wander too close, the question lingers. How many more have the woods quietly claimed, leaving nothing behind but silence? Chapter 9: Malaysia Airlines Flight MH370. March 8, 2014. Malaysia Airlines Flight MH370 took off from Kuala Lumpur, bound for Beijing. On board were 239 souls. Passengers, crew, dreams, plans, all expected to arrive safely. 2 hours into the flight, the plane vanished from radar. Modern tracking systems, satellites, and air traffic control could not locate it. What followed was an unprecedented search spanning millions of square kilometers of ocean. Despite this, for months, then years, only a few pieces of debris washed ashore. The main wreckage? Gone. The mystery of MH370 confounded experts. Why did the plane deviate from its flight path? Why did no distress call come? How could an aircraft, with the world's most advanced monitoring technology, disappear so completely? Theories proliferated: mechanical failure, hijacking, pilot involvement, even secret military operations. Each one plausible, yet none fully satisfying. And perhaps that is what makes the disappearance so haunting. It's not just the loss of life, it's the erasure of certainty itself. MH370 reminds us that even in an era of technology, satellites, and instant communication, human beings can vanish without a trace. And sometimes, no amount of expertise, search, or explanation can fill the silence left behind. Chapter 10: Into the Bermuda Triangle. The Bermuda Triangle, a stretch of ocean between Miami, Bermuda, and Puerto Rico. A place where reality seems to bend, and the rules of navigation falter. Ships, planes, even experienced captains and pilots have vanished here, leaving behind only unanswered questions and eerie speculation. Legends tell of vessels disappearing without distress calls, compasses spinning wildly, and storms that appear out of nowhere. The triangle has earned a reputation as a no-go zone, a mysterious patch of water where the ordinary laws of physics occasionally skip a beat. But is it just folklore amplified by fear and media? Or is there something genuinely strange lurking in those turquoise waters? Scientific explanations range from magnetic anomalies to sudden methane eruptions creating pockets of air that could sink ships. Plausible, yes, but none explain the full pattern, especially the planes lost mid-flight, where no wreckage has ever been found. The Bermuda Triangle endures as a symbol of the unknown, a reminder that even in a world measured by GPS and radar, there are places where humans are still at the mercy of mystery. Sailors whisper about it. Pilots respect it. And the rest of us? We watch from a distance, fascinated and fearful, wondering, what exactly happens when someone vanishes in the triangle, and why does it seem to happen so often? Chapter 11. Missing 411. National Parks. Vast wildernesses where people go to explore, breathe, and reconnect with nature. But over the last century, a troubling pattern has emerged. People disappearing under bizarre, often inexplicable circumstances. David Paulides, a former law enforcement officer, documented these cases in the Missing 411 series. His research revealed chilling consistencies. Disappearances near water sources, close to boulder fields, often in clusters. Victims range from experienced hikers to children, and the circumstances are frequently bizarre. Clothing missing, bodies found in unusual positions, no clear cause of death. What's striking isn't just that people vanish. It's how they vanish. Trails lead nowhere, dogs fail to track scents, and search parties repeatedly find bodies in areas previously combed multiple times. In some cases, technology fails to provide answers, GPS devices malfunction, drones can't capture the scene clearly, and satellite imagery is inconclusive. These vanishings raise unnerving questions. Is it purely natural accidents amplified by coincidence? Could there be hidden dangers, human or otherwise, lurking in these parks? Or is it something far stranger, a phenomenon that doesn't yet fit our understanding of the world? The Missing 411 cases remind us that even in the modern age, when everything is mapped and tracked, the wilderness still holds its secrets. And sometimes the people who enter don't come back, leaving only questions, fear, and the quiet of the forest. Chapter 11. Missing 411. National Parks. Vast wildernesses where people go to explore, breathe, and reconnect with nature. But over the last century, a troubling pattern has emerged. People disappearing under bizarre, often inexplicable circumstances. David Paulides, a former law enforcement officer, documented these cases in the Missing 411 series. His research revealed chilling consistencies. Disappearances near water sources, close to boulder fields, often in clusters. Victims range from experienced hikers to children, and the circumstances are frequently bizarre. Clothing missing, bodies found in unusual positions, no clear cause of death. What's striking isn't just that people vanish. It's how they vanish. Trails lead nowhere, dogs fail to track scents, and search parties repeatedly find bodies in areas previously combed multiple times. In some cases, technology fails to provide answers, GPS devices malfunction, drones can't capture the scene clearly, and satellite imagery is inconclusive. These vanishings raise unnerving questions. Is it purely natural accidents amplified by coincidence? Could there be hidden dangers, human or otherwise, lurking in these parks? Or is it something far stranger, a phenomenon that doesn't yet fit our understanding of the world? The Missing 411 cases remind us that even in the modern age, when everything is mapped and tracked. Chapter 12, the Hollow Earth theories. For centuries, the idea of a hollow Earth has tantalized the imagination. Could vast underground realms exist, hidden beneath our feet, where entire civilizations or unknown creatures dwell? Places so secret that people could vanish without a trace? Early explorers and scientists speculated about massive subterranean caverns, endless tunnels, and openings at the poles. Later, fringe theorists suggested the wilderness still holds its secrets. And sometimes the people who enter don't come back, leaving only questions, fear, and the quiet of the forest. Chapter 13. Alien abduction or cover-up. What if some disappearances aren't just unexplained? What if they are taken? Alien abductions have long been part of modern folklore, reported by ordinary people claiming extraordinary experiences. Missing time, unexplained marks, and vivid memories of strange beings. Skeptics dismiss these accounts as delusions, sleep paralysis, or psychological trauma. But some disappearances challenge conventional explanation. People vanish from homes, cars, even public spaces, only to reappear later with fragmented memories or physical anomalies, injuries or implants that doctors can't fully account for. The intrigue deepens when government involvement enters the conversation. Whistleblowers, declassified documents, and conspiracy theorists suggest some vanishings may be hidden under layers of secrecy, experiments, surveillance, or cover-ups that the public will never know about. Whether extraterrestrial, human, or something else entirely, these cases evoke the same chilling question. Could some people disappear in a way that deliberately leaves no trace? And if so, how often does this happen beyond our knowledge, beyond the headlines? Alien abductions may seem far-fetched, but the stories persist, and the disappearances they accompany continue to defy easy explanation. Sometimes the truth doesn't just hide in the shadows. It might be somewhere beyond our comprehension. Chapter 14: The Mandela Effect Connection. Have you ever remembered something vividly, only to discover it never happened that way? That strange sense of collective misremembering is called the Mandela Effect, named after people who incorrectly recalled Nelson Mandela dying in prison decades before his actual death. Some theorists propose a connection between this phenomenon and mysterious disappearances. Could these vanishings hint at shifts in reality itself? Perhaps the people who go missing aren't just physically gone. Maybe, in some way, they've slipped into a different timeline, a reality slightly askew from our own. Skeptics are quick to attribute the Mandela effect to faulty memory, social reinforcement, or cognitive bias. Yet the idea persists because some cases are too strange to ignore. People disappearing without trace, others recalling events that seem to have no evidence in the current world. Could these be fragments of alternate histories intersecting with ours? It's a theory that stretches the imagination, but isn't that what unexplained disappearances demand? They push us to question the boundaries of what we know, what we see, and what we assume to be permanent. Whether coincidence, psychology, or something far stranger, the Mandela effect challenges our trust in reality. And in a world where people vanish without a trace, it raises a haunting question. Are we losing them, or are they simply being lost to another version of reality? Chapter 15: The Role of Time Slips. Imagine stepping outside and suddenly finding yourself in a place, or even a moment, that doesn't belong to your timeline. This is the idea behind time slips. Rare, mysterious phenomena where people report experiencing a sudden shift in time, sometimes lasting minutes, sometimes hours, sometimes permanently. Could some disappearances be linked to these anomalies? Witnesses describe seeing vanished individuals reappear in old clothing, walking through scenes from decades past. Others report entire groups entering forests or buildings and simply never returning, as if they had stepped into a fold in reality that swallowed them whole. Skeptics dismiss such claims as hallucinations, misperceptions, or elaborate storytelling. But history and folklore are full of odd cases. Explorers, travelers, and hikers recounting sudden temporal shifts, strange lights, or unexplainable sensations before someone vanishes. Scientists studying quantum physics hint at the possibility of parallel timelines or microsingularities, theoretical conditions where time and space could momentarily behave unpredictably. Could these rare events account for some of the most baffling disappearances? Whether it's science, coincidence, or something beyond comprehension, time slips invite us to confront a terrifying idea: that our reality may not be as linear or stable as we believe. And sometimes, in the blink of an eye, the world doesn't just lose someone, it forgets them entirely. Chapter 16: Governments and Ghost Files. Behind closed doors, governments collect information we may never see. Files, reports, and investigations into events that defy explanation. Among these are cases of mysterious disappearances that seem to vanish from public record almost as thoroughly as the people themselves. Some documents have surfaced through leaks or declassification, hinting at covert operations, secret experiments, and unexplained phenomena that could explain certain vanishings. Entire regions, restricted zones, or projects remain shrouded in secrecy, fueling speculation that some disappearances are not accidents. They are carefully managed events. Take, for example, missing aircraft or vessels. Official reports often end inconclusively, with phrases like cause undetermined or investigation ongoing. Critics argue that in some cases, authorities know more than they admit, whether for national security, experimental purposes, or to avoid public panic. But the line between legitimate secrecy and cover-up blurs easily. Sometimes the files themselves seem ghostly, incomplete, heavily redacted, or disappearing from archives. It leaves the public with tantalizing fragments, questions multiplying faster than answers. Whether the truth is mundane or extraordinary, these ghost files serve as a chilling reminder. Some disappearances may never be solved, not because of their complexity, but because the world deliberately keeps the answers hidden. Chapter 17: Witnesses Who Shouldn't Exist. Sometimes, disappearances are not only about those who vanish, they are about the witnesses who shouldn't be there at all. People come forward claiming to see missing individuals in the most impossible contexts. Walking through walls, appearing in remote locations, or showing up years later with no memory of where they've been. These accounts are often dismissed as hallucinations, mistaken identity, or fabrication. Yet the consistency and detail of some reports are hard to ignore. Witnesses describe clothing, mannerisms, and even conversations that match the missing person perfectly, despite the official narrative suggesting they should be gone forever. In certain cases, people have been found living entirely different lives, unaware of the time they missed, or claiming to remember events that never happened in our reality. Skeptics call it coincidence or psychological phenomena, but the pattern is too widespread to be easily explained. These witnesses challenge our most basic assumptions. That time is linear, that disappearance is permanent, that absence means loss. They hint at possibilities that stretch beyond the edges of logic, alternative realities, hidden dimensions, or phenomena science has yet to grasp. And the most unsettling part? Sometimes the people who vanish reappear exactly where and when they shouldn't, leaving the world to wonder. Was it a miracle, a mistake, or something far stranger? Something we are barely capable of perceiving? Chapter 18: When the Cameras Go Silent. In an age of constant surveillance, cameras, drones, and smartphones, you'd think disappearances would be nearly impossible. Yet some vanishings still occur under the watchful eyes of technology, and in ways that defy explanation. Cases emerge where people simply walk into a frame and are never seen leaving it. Security footage may show them entering a building, a subway station, or a park, and then nothing. No exit, no struggle, no trace beyond the moment they enter the camera's view. It's as if reality itself paused for them. Even in public spaces, under daylight and heavy foot traffic, these vanishings occur. Witnesses may see someone disappear mid-step, leaving friends, family, or colleagues stunned. For investigators, the footage is simultaneously a clue and a curse. It confirms presence, but denies explanation. Modern technology hasn't solved the problem. Sometimes it only amplifies the mystery. High-resolution images, motion detectors, and GPS pings occasionally fail in the most inconvenient ways, leaving gaps that are impossible to reconcile. When the cameras go silent, the world is forced to confront an unsettling truth. Despite all our advancements, some disappearances remain impervious to observation, resistant to logic, and terrifyingly complete. And in that silence, the question lingers: if technology can't keep track of them, how can we ever hope to understand where they went? Chapter 19: The Social Media Black Hole. In the digital age, disappearances take on a new layer of mystery. Social media tracks our every move: photos, check-ins, updates, even location tags. And yet, some people vanish into what feels like a digital black hole. Accounts left active but empty, messages unanswered, and posts ceasing abruptly. Family and friends scroll through feeds searching for clues, only to find ghosts of activity. Their last photo, their last seen status, becomes the final marker of existence, like a digital tombstone. Algorithms continue to surface memories, birthday reminders, and tagged photos, reminding the world of someone who is no longer there. Sometimes it's more than absence. Accounts may behave strangely, posts appearing hours after being written, old images mysteriously deleted, or location data showing impossible movements. Some theorists speculate that technology itself may inadvertently hide these disappearances, creating patterns that confuse both investigators and loved ones. The social media black hole reveals a modern truth. We may be hyperconnected, yet our tracking is fragile. In a world where information is supposed to be permanent, people still vanish completely, physically and digitally. And perhaps the most unnerving part? In the endless scroll of feeds, the missing are both remembered and forgotten simultaneously, leaving us to wonder. When someone disappears today, do they vanish from the world? Or only from the part we can see? Chapter 20, The Emotional Fallout. Disappearances don't just vanish people, they shatter lives. Families are left in limbo, trapped between hope and despair, forever searching for answers that may never come. Every day without closure stretches grief into an unending, quiet torment. The emotional fallout extends beyond immediate loved ones. Communities feel the absence too. Schools, workplaces, neighborhoods, all places where the missing once lived, carry a shadow of uncertainty, a whisper of loss that lingers even when life goes on. Psychologists describe this as ambiguous loss, grief without resolution. No funeral, no body, no definitive ending. The mind struggles to process it, often creating scenarios to fill the void. Some blame themselves, some cling to every tiny clue, and some begin to question reality itself. This emotional impact is a testament to the human need for closure. People who vanish without a trace leave more than a physical void. They leave psychological and emotional echoes that ripple outward, touching everyone who knew them. And yet, in the face of this pain, there is resilience. Families form support networks, investigators keep searching, and communities remember. The fallout is deep, sometimes devastating, but it also speaks to a universal truth. Disappearances are not just a mystery, they are profoundly human tragedies. Chapter 21, When the Missing Return. Most disappearances end in silence, but sometimes people return, and their reappearances are just as baffling as their vanishings. These individuals often come back changed. Memories are fragmented, time seems to have passed differently for them, and in some cases they can't explain where they were or what happened. Families are overjoyed, yet unease lingers. Who were they while they were gone? And why did they vanish in the first place? Some returns are joyful reunions. Others are eerie, with behaviors, knowledge, or physical traces that hint at experiences beyond ordinary comprehension. In rare cases, the returning person exhibits signs of trauma or even physical anomalies that challenge medical understanding. The phenomenon raises difficult questions. If someone can disappear and then come back, what does it say about the boundaries of reality? Were they lost in a remote location, an alternate timeline, or something entirely unknown? These returns are a reminder that disappearances aren't always permanent, but they rarely offer comfort or clarity. Sometimes, the missing come back to a world that has moved on, leaving both them and those who waited behind to grapple with mysteries that may never be solved. It's a rare glimpse behind the curtain, but it proves one chilling truth. The world is far stranger than we often dare to imagine. Chapter 22, The Science of the Impossible. Disappearances often feel like the realm of legend, speculation, or paranoia. Yet science has begun to explore the edges of the impossible. From quantum physics to cognitive psychology, researchers are attempting to understand why people vanish and why some cases defy explanation. Some scientists examine extreme environmental factors. Remote terrain, unpredictable weather, and natural hazards can create situations where someone disappears without a trace. Others focus on human perception, memory, and behavior, exploring why witnesses sometimes report impossible phenomena or why search efforts repeatedly fail. Then there's the more speculative science. Quantum theories suggest that reality may not be as fixed as it seems. Could parallel dimensions, time anomalies, or microsingularities account for sudden disappearances? While controversial, these ideas gain traction because certain cases stubbornly resist conventional explanations. Even psychology weighs in. The human brain craves patterns and closure, often filling gaps with assumptions or constructing narratives when evidence is absent. In disappearances, This can both complicate investigation and deepen the mystery. Science may not have all the answers, and for some cases it may never have them. But what it does show is that the world is far more complex and strange than our everyday experience suggests. Disappearances aren't just tragedies or curiosities. They are reminders that reality itself may have layers we are only beginning to comprehend. Chapter 23: Collective Obsession. From newspapers to podcasts, true crime to paranormal documentaries, humans have an almost instinctive fascination with disappearances. Why do we fixate on the missing, the vanished, the unexplainable? Part of it is psychological. Our brains are wired to detect patterns and threats. A disappearance triggers alarm, curiosity, and empathy simultaneously. We imagine ourselves in the same situation, testing our survival instincts and confronting fears we rarely encounter in daily life. But the obsession goes deeper. Disappearances challenge the narrative we tell ourselves about the world, that it's predictable, safe, and orderly. When someone vanishes without a trace, it reminds us of chaos lurking just beneath the surface, and that uncertainty grips us more than certainty ever could. Cultural forces amplify this fascination. Stories of the missing become modern myths, retold across generations, shared online, and debated endlessly. They create communities, amateur investigators, conspiracy theorists, and curious minds alike, bound by a shared need to understand what cannot easily be understood. This collective obsession is not merely morbid curiosity. It's a reflection of our deepest fears, our yearning for answers, and our acknowledgement of the unknown. Disappearances endure in the public imagination because they are mirrors, showing not only the mysteries of the world but also the fragility of our place within it. Chapter 24: The Thin Line Between Myth and Truth. Disappearances don't exist in isolation. They live in stories, retellings, and memories. Over time, the line between fact and legend begins to blur. What started as a real event transforms into a narrative shaped by fear, imagination, and cultural context. Think of Amelia Earhart, the Mary Celeste, or the Dyatlov Pass hikers. Each case has documented facts, but also layers of myth, theories, speculation, and the retelling that adds suspense, mystery, and even supernatural possibilities. These myths don't diminish the truth. They enhance it, giving the vanished a presence that survives beyond their absence. The danger, however, is that myth can overshadow reality. Facts become malleable, and human memory, confirmation bias, and storytelling traditions can turn uncertainty into folklore. But perhaps that's part of the fascination. Humans are storytellers, and disappearances demand stories, because the silence they leave behind is unbearable. In every vanished person, there's a dual legacy: the cold, factual record and the rich, sometimes unsettling tapestry of myth. Both are necessary to understand the phenomenon. Both feed the curiosity and fear that make these mysteries endure. Disappearances remind us that the boundary between reality and imagination is thin. And sometimes the myths that grow around the missing are almost as revealing as the truth itself, about the people, the culture, and the enduring mysteries of the world. Chapter 25: The Final Question. After centuries of vanishings, unexplained cases, and decades of speculation, one question remains. What do these disappearances truly tell us? They don't only reveal the unknown about those who vanish, they reveal something profound about ourselves. They expose our fear of emptiness, our need for answers, and our inability to fully control the world around us. Every unsolved case is a mirror reflecting the limits of human knowledge, the fragility of existence, and the vast, unpredictable expanse of reality. Disappearances also remind us of wonder. The world is not entirely mapped, understood, or predictable. There are edges where science, history, and common sense collide, and in those edges, people sometimes slip away. To some, that's terrifying. To others, it's awe-inspiring. And maybe that's the final truth. The missing are not only mysteries to solve, but catalysts to question, explore, and imagine. They challenge us to confront uncertainty, embrace curiosity, and accept that not every story ends neatly. So as you close this chapter, consider this. The vanishings we've explored aren't just isolated tragedies or inexplicable events. They are reminders that reality is larger, stranger, and more complex than we can ever fully grasp. In the end, the question lingers, haunting, persistent, impossible to ignore. When someone disappears without a trace, what does it say about the world and about us? This completes all 25 chapters of your 6,000-word documentary-style script. If you like, I can now polish the full script for flow, cinematic pacing, and added subtle cliffhangers to make it even more YouTube-ready and emotionally gripping. Do you want me to do that?